You know what, Boris? You do the intro.
Hey everyone, this is FGC Behind the Smoke with you, coming live but not live. Adamo and Boris. How's that? Good? You like
Yeah, that
that?
was good. You nailed it. Good work.
Beautiful. Okay.
Once again, lost all of our listeners, but whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
what's up, everyone? As Boris said, FGC coming to you live, but not really.
So what's the point of me doing the intro if you're just gonna redo it?
Well, it's I like putting you on the spot, and it's funny when you do it because then it makes me seem that much better, you know.
What are we talking about today to these guys?
We're talking about driving and pumping. You know, the backbone of the fireground operations, the
That's
good
right.
stuff.
I'm a firm believer that the backbone of the fire service is whatever position I'm in. You know?
Oh yeah, the recliner.
Damn, that was too
You're
quick for me.
you're a beauty. Yeah, so we're talking about driving, pumping. You know, some of our listeners are already career firefighters who, this might be kind of their next job, right? Their next role within the fire service. And also if you're a volunteer, right? Like you're probably going to end up driving and pumping as well. So we thought we'd kind of just chat a little bit about that, kind of, give you guys a bit of an understanding about it. We're not going super crazy into pump theory and friction loss and all that kind of stuff. Those are things that you guys are obviously going to learn when you get your training on this, but we're just going to go over some stuff when it comes to that. Maybe some ways to get ready if this is kind of the next position that you're going to be in. And yeah,
Yeah,
let's fucking roll, baby.
yeah, for those still listening, just a quick little background for Adamo and I. Like both Adamo and I have been driving for, what did you say, 4 years now, give or take, 4 or 5 years
Probably
plus.
about 5 years, yeah. And
Yeah,
well, if you include my time as a volunteer, like probably like 6 years.
right. Yeah, yeah, same. So, we've driven pumpers, we've driven medics, we've driven ambulances, we've driven ladder trucks. So, uh, we have some knowledge here, and like Adamo said, we'll try to pass some of that on, whatever we do know, and kind of what to expect and what to prepare for coming up. So, what's our first thing here, Adamo? What are we explaining first?
So like what let's go over like what is a driver slash engineer, because some places call their driver an engineer, right? Especially in the States, I think it's pretty common, right?
Yeah, you usually in the engineer role. Honestly, for me, the biggest responsibility is getting water to the people that are inside. I know there's tons of things that we're going to mention here, but it's a huge responsibility, guys. So you go from, being a probie or a recruit to being a first class firefighter to being a driver, and now yeah, you're watching each other's back when you're in a fire as a firefighter, but now as a driver, you have a lot more responsibility, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So not only is your responsibility supplying water to the crews who are going to be fire attack, and you're also responsible for getting them to the right location
Yeah,
safely,
yeah.
while also trying to get there quickly, right? There is a really big responsibility that comes with becoming a driver and or engineer if you're one of our listeners in the States. Um, I would say like the first thing is knowing your district, right? Being able to get to familiarize yourself with your district, so when a call comes in, you're not taking forever at the map to try and figure out where you're going to go.
Yeah, depending on what department you're applying to. And this could be a question if you're interested in it to ask, maybe not in your interview, but maybe when you're going to your hall visit, which was an episode we aired a few before this one. But, ask what kind of technology they use, because some departments have GPS, some departments use their phones, some departments use, laptops. Some are old school, use maps, right? So uh
Yeah, it really depends on the department.
yeah, but I agree. Like knowing your district, like that's my pet peeve. Is it's fine not knowing every single street and turn, but like if you blow a street on a call, the moment you get back to that fire hall, you better be going to that map and seeing what you did wrong.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly. it really comes down to like accountability, right? The public obviously expects a lot of us, which they should, and you should be able to, you're going to make mistakes, right? It's going to happen. But like we constantly harp on it on this podcast about, ownership and accountability and stuff like that. If you make a mistake, you miss a turn or something like that, like you said, Boris, like when you get back to the hall, you better be going to the map and looking at your area a bit better, right? So you know where you're going for the next call.
Yeah, nothing. It's just such a pet peeve if I'm like in the back of the truck or whatever, and a junior firefighter who might be an engineer or whatever blows an address. We have to walk an extra block, or we don't get there as fast as we should, and when we get back to the hall, they just go straight back up to the recliner or whatever, right? It's like, okay, so you don't want to be better at your job then, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's that drives me nuts too. And it happens, right? And it's something that we always talk about what type of firefighter you want to be, right? Do you want you to be the one coming to your emergency call, right? If the answer is no, then maybe you need some work.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a different job.
Yeah, exactly. It is a lot of responsibility, guys. Like Adamo said, you're going to be woken up in the middle of the night. And not only do you have to get ready and out the door, but you also have to see where you're going, get the truck going, make sure you're leaving safely. The bay door's closed. Everybody's in the truck. Like you have so many more responsibilities now as a driver.
Yeah.
So you really do have to dial your stuff in if you want to be good at it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would say like if that's the role that you're going into next, and you're going to be at the current fire hall that you're at for a while, I would start kind of studying the map a bit. Talking to the current driver, kind of ask about what kind of traps there are in that district, because some places are one-way streets, some places have dead-end streets. Kind of learning that stuff, and then start taking like mental notes when you're going on calls and you're in the back seat as to what the address is and what the route is that you're taking.
Yeah, absolutely. There's stuff that you might not see on the map or GPS, like brand new construction, right? That might impede your way to that call. So yeah, if you're about to be a driver getting into it, another thing you can do is like ask the driver to pop the hood, right? Bring it up, see how you can change the fluids, maybe just check the oil for them, right? Check the transmission fluid. Uh, do the little things for them just so you kind of understand the trucks a little bit better too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, every shift, the driver's required to go out and do a full truck check and brake check, right? So it's a really good opportunity for you if you're going to be next in that seat, for you to just go out with them and start learning from them how they do it, and it'll help you better understand the mechanics of the vehicle as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And every driver kind of has, you're obviously going to follow a familiar template for how to check your truck, right? But every driver's got his own way of checking the truck, what they do first potentially, or what they check a little bit extra. I don't know how it is with you, Demo, but I know sometimes with me, like after I'm done the full truck check, I'll grab a tool from the truck that I haven't touched in a while and then play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you're already out there, you already got the compartments opened, the truck's warm. Maybe today you're gonna, take out a couple of monitors and just like do a dry run of how you're gonna connect them to the truck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. So like every time I do my truck check, I always kind of like pretend as if I'm pulling up at a fire, right? So lights on, pull it out of the truck bay, test the siren really quickly, air brake on, vehicle and pump, put it into drive, get out. Then I do my tank to pump, and then I prime the line. I'll usually pull a nozzle off of like a spare nozzle off the rig, and tie it into one of the ports, and then get water flowing to that, and then I'll not pretend, but I'll actually go around to the back of the truck and then check my where I connect the hydrant line into in the back there at the inlet, and then just kind of go over those steps to create that muscle memory. So that way, when I do show up to a fire, it's automatic. I do the same thing every time, like how I do when I do my rig check.
Yeah, nice. I'm pretty much the same way, Damo. Obviously, with a couple of things here and there, but yeah, get into that muscle memory, and you'll see like when it's 2 a.m., you don't know where you are, and all of a sudden you have to jump on a truck. Like that muscle memory will kick in, and like I even do the way I start the trucks is always the same. Like I'll start the truck, and while I'm starting the truck, I will also open up the bay door. So while the bay door is rolling up, the truck is starting up. Then I'll get into my turnouts, and then I'll get into the truck. So by the time I'm in the truck, the door's already open, the truck's ready to go. Everybody else is probably already on the truck, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it's a
when
good way of doing it.
and then like when I'm outside the bay, I will stop the truck, press the button to bring the bay door down, double check, and then go, and then start my sirens a little bit. So you guys need to, you'll get into your own muscle memory for your truck checks and how you operate at a call and on the way to the call. But just having that accountability, being safe, like Adamo said, like be safe on the way. Like don't be ripping 100 in a 50 zone. Yeah, you got to get there, but you also got to get there safely, right?
Yeah, and make sure you're stopping at red lights and looking both ways before you proceed through, right? And they're like a lot of these fire engines and ladders and stuff, they're real heavy vehicles, right? So you don't have that same stopping power that you would in your, little sedan, or, if you're Boris, your pogo stick that you jump around on in the fields of Australia.
I just want to be like the kangaroos around me, buddy.
Just hopping around.
I'm gonna sew myself a nice little pouch too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put the baby in it.
Yeah, a little fanny pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I find it especially, it's very dangerous, guys. Like if you're going, let's say you're going to a fire, right? You have multiple rigs going to a call, and say you're trailing another rig. People might just see that one and think that the sirens are coming from that one, and not see your rig, which is behind the initial fire truck, right? I find that is
that's a good point.
dangerous. So just be really careful out there. Take care of your crew, the 4 people or 5 people who are on your truck, or 3 people, whatever your department is like. Because if you can get to the call safely, not only did you just endanger the public and your crew, but you're also not doing anything for that person who just called, right?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Boris. I was just about to say the exact same thing. If you're reckless in getting there, like obviously you want to be going with a sense of urgency, but not to the point where you're jeopardizing safety, right? Because like you said, if something happens, you get into a wreck on the way there, well, now you've just hurt yourself, hurt your crew, and now whoever called you guys who's in an emergency situation, who needs your help, in those types of situations, seconds matter, right? And now you've kind of fucked them, right?
Yeah, totally. And you don't want to be that crew that's on the news like, oh, fire truck is flipped at an intersection, or they T-boned somebody, right? That's not what we got into this job for. And keep that in mind when you are driving. What I also like to do sometimes is just think about, like, whenever I'm pumping or driving, I don't know how it is with you, Demo, but just like in the back of my mind, like, okay, well, that person has like a son and a daughter at home. That person over there has like 3 kids. Like, do I really want to put them into danger unnecessarily? Do I really want to be slow with how I get my water to the fire truck or to the fire hose, right?
Exactly.
There's so many more responsibilities as drivers that, and that's normal. Like, you're going to go from firefighter to driver, engineer to officer, and responsibilities just grow in the fire service, and you have to take that accountability seriously as you move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like we said, like there's a lot of responsibility once you move to that point of your career where you become a driver, engineer. And like I will say though, it's a lot of fun. driving is a lot of fun. You're driving this big red truck around with lights and sirens, and sometimes you get to go driving down the wrong side of the road and all this kind of stuff. It's really enjoyable, and uh, I know it can be kind of daunting if you're about to get into it, and maybe you haven't driven something that big before or whatever the case might be, but it's all part of the job, and it is a lot of fun. I find we do get those routine medical calls where you don't find them as exciting anymore, but when you're driving, at least you still get to drive their lights and sirens in a big red truck, right? So although it's daunting, like, learn to enjoy it, because if you do, it's going to make your career a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you're a demo, you're gonna have a bunch of guys wave at you from outside the truck, which is what? It's nice.
Hilarious. Yeah, and if you're Boris, you'll have a bunch of girls turning their back to you because they don't want to look at you.
Hey, I'm married, buddy.
Yeah, me too.
Have you hit anything, Adamo, in your big red truck?
I did, yeah. I did once. I hit a Tesla.
Just once?
Yeah. I didn't even know. It just the tail swing caught it, and we were going from one call that we had just finished up at, and then going to a different call, and then dispatch called, and they're like, "Hey, you guys gotta go back. You hit a vehicle." And I was like, "What?" And it was super minimal damage. It looked like somebody keyed their car, so it's not like it tore it up or anything like that. So it was just, yeah. But yeah, that's the only time I can think of that anything like that's ever happened. What about you?
You can't think of any time when I was in the truck and you were driving and something happened?
I don't. What are you talking about? Let's hear it.
Oh, it was just some lamppost somebody put in like a middle of the street.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I hit a pole too. That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot you were on that call. No, I'm not making any excuses. I should have been more aware, but I was driving a ladder truck, and I was trying to turn down a street, and they had like a crane truck on the other side of the street, and it was a really tight turn. I was trying to get through there, and I was looking at the crane truck to make sure I didn't hit that, and in doing so, I took the corner a little too sharp and hit a pole. What have you hit, Boris?
I've hit a couple of truck mirrors on
Nice.
yeah, mirror to mirror action. You know what, guys? Like we laugh about it, and obviously it's funny now. Like at the time, like take it seriously, right? Report it to your officer. It will happen. Like I think, I mean, in our municipal city, with the tight streets and bike lanes and everything like that, like I think everybody has some kind of little scratch. Like obviously in both cases, you and I, Adamo, like it wasn't like anything crazy, no injuries, no,
Yeah.
but it does happen, and you do need to report it. That's again that accountability, right?
Absolutely. Own up to it. And you're probably going to feel like shit for doing it, like for hitting something or whatever it is, because you're going to be like, fuck, like I thought I was doing good, and now I did this. That's good if you feel that way, because it shows that you care and that you don't want to make those mistakes. If you didn't care, if you're like, oh well, not my vehicle, I mean, that's just a horrible attitude to have, right? So yeah, take that ownership and that accountability when mistakes happen, and like you said, Boris, like I'm sure at some point in somebody, whoever's listening right now, at some point in your career when you're driving, you're probably gonna hit something. Like it's a really high percentage, because you're so focused on going to a call, you're driving through tight streets, there's a lot going on. You may not be super used to driving a vehicle like that yet. You got to account for tail swing. There's a lot of things that you got to account for. So if it happens, don't beat yourself up too much about it, but just don't make a habit of it and learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Some big ways to mitigate that, like Adamo said earlier, like take your time going through intersections, right? Especially if you have the red light, be super careful. Check your mirrors. That tail swing can be really bad, especially on like tower trucks, ladder trucks, right? And at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Things happen. Hopefully they're not too big of mistakes, but own up to them and learn from them and go from there. Or you're going to hear about them on a podcast from somebody who was at the scene.
I actually forgot about that one, but now that you've, I remember that was the first time that I hit something. So I've hit two things. I hit a pole. It jumped out of nowhere, that pole. It just showed up.
Oh yeah, I know.
I remember I was just like, fuck. Like I just felt like such a piece of shit. I was like, oh man, like I thought I was doing such a good job. And
Yeah,
yeah.
to your
Go
credit,
ahead.
yeah, 100%. Like when you made that turn and there was that big crane truck with the outriggers, it was very tough. That's a very tough street to navigate for sure. So I'll give you that much on that call.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up overtime shifts on your shift just to sit in the back, so that way when you hit something, I can bring it up on the podcast.
just a peanut gallery.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, if you guys have any questions about pumping, we might throw some pumping stuff out, like pump panel stuff on our Patreon or on our Instagram. We'll try to throw a couple of things out there when we can. But yeah, if there's something specific you guys want to know about, like how pumps work, defensive driving, that kind of stuff, like there's no reason you can't get on that now and start studying that if you know that's your next role, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff that you can find on YouTube as well when it comes to that, like understanding, pumping, friction loss, GPM versus PSI, like all that kind of stuff, as well as defensive driving tactics too. But watching a video will definitely help you. But when it comes to defensive driving tactics, it's really going to be, getting behind the wheel and getting a feel for the vehicle and understanding the size of it and how to maneuver it.
Yeah, and jump on that opportunity too, right? Like if the course is coming up or, somebody's offering you some kind of teaching moment for that vehicle, like jump on it right away. Get on it. The more reps you can get on it, the better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we hope you guys found this interesting. If not, hopefully you laughed at me hitting a pole with a fire truck and, Boris driving a pogo stick in Australia.
Yeah. We'll do it for you guys if you join our Patreon. We'll hit more stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Right on.
So we have just created our Patreon program and it's online. We'll put a link in the description of this episode. It's got all our freebies on there. So it's got resume templates, the interview checklist,
the competitive edge checklist.
Yeah, competitive edge checklist.
And we're also going to be diving into more in-depth interview episodes and hiring process stuff. And we're going to be posting it on there. It really does help us out because then we're able to pay Francesco for producing this podcast. If it wasn't for him, we'd be hooped.
You guys missed the part where we were just trying to turn this microphone on before this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we wouldn't be anywhere without him. So we'd like to start paying him a lot more.
And it's also going to be a way for us to just upgrade to better audio equipment, better cameras, better lighting, and all that kind of stuff to bring you guys a better experience with this podcast.
Yeah, and that was your idea actually, Damo, with the whole going over every interview question kind of in depth and really getting into the interview panel stuff.
Yeah, we'll be going into that in really great detail, really breaking apart the questions and just talking about like what they're actually asking in these questions, right? And yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of info, a lot of really, really good info.
And if it's not, let us know. We also have a chat group in there as well on Patreon.
That's right.
So if there's, guests you want us to see, bring on, or if there's questions you want us to ask or talk about on the podcast, you're more than welcome to ask us on there.
Yeah, for sure. And like when it comes to those behavioral / situational type questions, we can break down a question and talk about it for probably half an hour. Yeah. Right. Just one question.
Easily.
So there's going to be a lot of really good info on that. And like we said, it's going to really help support the podcast so we can upgrade better equipment and also keep Francesco around so that way there is a podcast.
Chaining him down to the table would be too cruel.
Yeah. Right on. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat with you on the next one.